Alright, I'm recording the Rumble video. Welcome back, hot dogs and donuts. It's your boy Spider Pig. Y'all already know what time it is. It's like 8 a.m. on a Saturday, aka Super Saturday. Y'all know I wake up early just to get on and talk about Dragon Ball and watch some videos with y'all. If y'all in bed sleep, good for y'all. For those on the replay, I appreciate that part of the game. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta wake up early just because I do. But you do gotta watch the videos because I made it for you. Make sure the volume down low. And the volume down low. And I want the volume to be up loud on here while I'm over here trying to get this good content in. And for those who didn't know, today is actually April 5th, aka Akira Toriyama's birthday. RIP to the big homie. Appreciate all the work he put in before he did make it up out of here. And that is also going to be covered in today's video. So let's go ahead and talk about some stuff. Well, we ain't going to talk about nothing. We're going to get the videos going, and then we'll come back and talk. Because, I got to get my breakfast together. Shouts out to them push-ups. You dig? Got to wake up and do my first set of puffs. I've been up since 6:50 though, so well actually 6:20. But hell, I've been up. I ain't smoked yet. I was waiting on y'all.
Hello, monkey. I heard you like to fight, but never let an enemy out of your sight. To any fool I go with him to face our might, the Frieza force will knock you out like a light. His son Gohan, the only one to get your hand-me-downs, but he's at a pity party with his tears out. They say it was a weird case. Why was he around? Certified Super Saiyan, certified imbecile. Frieza, fuck him up. I did my stuff. Why are you fighting like a bitch? Are you hungry? Fight with all your might, but you're still a filthy monkey.
We got a brand new merch design, the three pure-blooded Saiyans in their most powerful forms. Ultra Instinct, Ultra Ego, and Full Power Broly right now in the Geekdom 101 store. Get it in many colors and sizes, a variety of options for you to choose from. Whatever you think looks the best. And if you don't want like a regular shirt, there are tons of different design choices. You can get a mouse pad. You can even get it on a hat or a baseball cap. For a limited time only. The link will be in the description. Alright, so I got a quick video for y'all here involving Toyotaro's recent comments on Dragon Ball Super and future developments. Dragon Ball Super superhero prelude stuff, and that was meant to be the last chapter included in Volume 24, which is out in Japan now, and it will be out sometime later this year from Viz Media in English, the actual physical Volume 24. So besides there being a cool little Toriyama's World Forever piece of art, which really took, all this is just a combination of all the other art pieces that Toyotaro has drawn throughout the years. It's a beautiful piece though, I mean it looks great. There's an interview with Toyotaro where he goes in and discusses details about the superhero arc that were unrevealed before, including Toriyama's involvement with the prelude. So this translation is coming from Herms, so let me hit you with what's going on here. It says here, the secret story behind the birth of Saiyaman X that I got to draw for the end of this volume was based on text written by Toriyama Sensei, which I revised and made into a manga. Now, that to me in and of itself is interesting because there was no word of Toriyama's involvement in this as far as like beyond what we had already heard, which was that Toyotaro was putting together the arc, but Toriyama was, supervising him. Obviously, the script for Dragon Ball Superhero, the movie that came out now 3 years ago, was written by Toriyama himself. So Toyotaro made some changes that Toriyama approved of, but there's more. Here is where we have the interesting new reveal. He says, during the process of working out the Saiyaman X story, this is the stuff with Trunks and Mai in high school, and the stuff that we got a few years ago, that serves as the prequel to the superhero arc. He gave me this story as a prologue, saying it doesn't really matter whether you use this in the main story or not. So that means that the prelude stuff with Clean God and the stuff with like Gohan being revealed to have secretly been masquerading as Clean God, that was all written by Toriyama. This is new information. I think most of us assumed it was a Toyotaro thing, because let's not forget that was published a year later. But he goes on to say, I felt it would be such a waste to cut it, so I really wanted to make it into a manga. However, the superhero arc's prequel was fixed at 3 chapters, 88 to 90, so I cried and resigned myself to drawing 3 chapters after Trunks and Goten had become Saiyaman X. So, if you remember, chapters 88 to 90 was the prelude stuff before they started to actually adapt the movie with chapter 91, right? So, the whole, where it says here, it was fixed at 3 chapters, that was likely a decision made by Shueisha when it comes to limiting how many chapters it would be. That seems like it's something Shueisha would come up with, not Toriyama. And even he was talking, when he says he cried, I don't think he meant that he literally was crying tears. I think he's talking about that he wanted to put some of the stuff in. Now, this is where it all kind of wraps up. He says, however, as the superhero arc drew to a close, this was still a story I wanted to draw no matter what, so they were nice enough to let me have my way, and I got to draw it as a one-shot. That, to me, almost implies that he drew this months ago. Maybe that stuff that we got in February, Toyotaro had done a year ago. I couldn't even tell you, but it seems like the idea had been there for a while, because Toriyama passed away 1 year ago in March of 2024. Thank you so much for reading it, and now the superhero arc is finished. Then it says, look forward to future developments, Toyotaro. This line that says, look forward to future developments, this is no different than what Toyotaro said last summer in his interview, where he said there was more to come, and so did Akira. So, again, all we have now is just Akira Iyoku saying there's more to come. And he said it about Dragon Ball, not specifically Daima or Super. Toyotaro's gig is that he's the Super guy, so we can assume he's talking about Super, but look forward to future developments. Now, in Shueisha, in V-Jump, it is still listed as being on hiatus. They have not said that Dragon Ball Super manga is over, just that it's on hiatus. And I'm over here thinking, okay, if it is over, just tell us it's over. I think I speak for most people. Stop sort of leading us on and just give us an answer. But the problem is Japan's communication and their promotion when it comes to this.
They just put it out, and if you want, if you get it, you
got
got
it.
it.
Damn bad. But basically, it's implied there's more coming, but we have no idea when. And it's been a minute since really I've looked at this. I'm actually taking a little bit of a vacation now from doing videos. I've done content pretty much nonstop for 10 years, so I need a bit of a break. So I'm sort of glad this is going on. At the same time, I'm ready to get back into work. So what we'll do is, here on the channel, I'll probably be...
See, that part don't make no sense. You're ready for a break, but then you're ready to just continue putting in work. This is where I come back in as your monetization coach because you know TWP actually has a couple job titles and job descriptions because you know when you master one, you don't just sit there and revel in the fact. Nah, you go ahead and make the next step and move forward. You dig? You're like, okay, when somebody comes to me for that, I'm ready for that. But in the meantime, let me get ready for something else. But hell, you know how it goes out here. Taking breaks ain't really too good for you. I mean, you're supposed to rest, get you a little bit, you know, if it's something stressful, walk away for a little bit. But nah, we don't take too long. No fucking 6 month vacations. No, the show's been gone for 2 years, and now we're finally ready to come back. Hell, people have lost interest. And then the ones that do come back are going to be the ones that are going to be quick to leave again because guess what? You're going to leave. You see what I'm saying? That's why I set my schedule and I said I'm sticking to it. Hell, it was a 5 year plan, which actually was a 10-year plan, which was actually a 25 to life plan. You did shout out to the 25 to life plan because that's what we originally had. Yeah. But, anyways, as far as taking long breaks and stopping the production of your work, there's nothing too good about that. That sounds like some shit that them goofy people talk about. Oh, well, I've been at this for 10 years and I need a break. The fuck you need a break for? If this is what you want to do, there ain't no breaks. That's like when you decide to have kids. Hell, there are no more breaks. You decided to do and take up a job that gives you no breaks. That means 365 days a year you have to produce. Not saying you got to do videos 365 days a year, but whatever your schedule and production is, you got to stick to it. So if Monday through Friday, 40 hours a week, you supposed to be working, you got to be working. It ain't no, oh, I'm just going to take this 40 hours off this week. You can't do that because, you know, unless you got some paid time off coming up because, you know, you got to take your vacation days. You see, they make you take your vacation days because you're going to either just get paid extra for or whatever we going to do, but you're going to take this vacation time. Here's that money for it. That way we can have it on our budget and everybody's happy as far as that. But yeah, you got to stay sharp. You see what I'm saying? The knife that stays sharp can always cut. Yeah, I'm gonna hit you with a proverb that makes no sense, but if I explain it later, you might know what it means.
Doing mostly streams. That'll be what I mostly do, just live streams hanging out with you guys, the Mongolian, and then save edited videos for whenever Super comes back. I've actually got like 7 videos edited and done, and those are going to be on my hard drive until the time comes to bring them back whenever Dragon Ball Super.
See, now that makes no sense. If you've already got 7 videos done, pick when are good times for you to have the videos. And why would you just say they're just going to be in my hard drive until Super comes back? Probably because he might have some inside information and he's like, well, damn, I already got the videos done. I want to tell people I already got the information without telling them I already had the information. Because that's the way your boy Geekdom work. Because, you know, he gets information and some of it he's not supposed to disclose. But if he already had the information and didn't say nothing, then he doesn't get any credit for saying it. Man, I knew this way back in 2025 when the show didn't start back up to 2027 type shit. You see what I'm saying? So that way he can try to say, well, I gave y'all a heads up. And then he can come back to this video and show you the proof. Like, this is when I said I had the information. When I said I had them 7 videos edited and ready to go, but they were just saved. It was the reason why I said I just saved them. And now I'm telling you.
The manga would resume, or whether we at least have an idea of when this is all going to come to a head or what's next. Right now, they just don't tell us anything, so it's the way it is. This will be the last regular video you get until we have a Super announcement. I'll obviously be covering things as they come through, any news here on the channel, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, I hope you have a great day. Take care of yourself and each other, and yeah, I'll see you guys. I mean, I'm still doing streams on Twitch and here on YouTube, so I'll still be around, but the edited videos will wait until, you know, we have more clarity on the future. Anyways, y'all have a good one. See you soon.
introduced to some Fist of the North Star bandits that got lost and found their way to Dragon Ball. Now, this one introduces something interesting. If you know anything about Sun Wukong, the character Goku is based on, you know he has 3 iconic tools. Goku has 2 of the 3 tools, but Toriyama never introduced the 3rd, that tool being the sealing gourd. Here, it has the power to seal someone if they don't answer when their name is called. After being sealed, they're turned into a liquid that if someone drinks, they can steal the sealed person's power. Kinda OP, huh? Luckily, Goku is able to avoid being converted with the power pole, and turns the gourd on its owners. Goku lets the villagers keep the gourd. Shame he couldn't keep it, as this is filler. But it's not really his style to use something like that anyway. The bandits are no match for Goku, but assuming they've been using the gourd for a while, they're probably pretty strong. So, let's give them 67 and 73. Now...
Is Vegeta the best husband in Dragon Ball? Vegeta found himself a rival upon entering the Demon Realm. Hype showed his interest in Bulma and Vegeta's sensors as her husband quickly started working. From that point onwards, Vegeta has always had an eye on Bulma. In episode 14 of the anime, right when the party was about to enter the Demon Realm, they found out that the ship was not going to endure this final leg of the journey, so all of them would have to fly. However, Bulma is the only one of them all to not have the ability to fly, and even though Hype kinda stepped in, Vegeta quickly took care of it. Without a single doubt, Vegeta just got Bulma to wrap her arms around him, and then the two of them abandoned the ship. This is just another instance of Vegeta looking after Bulma, obviously the most memorable one being his fit of rage after Beerus slapped her. And this begs the question, after all he's been through,
Jesus Christ, really?
Don't forget to become a member of Unrelent Gaming's Patreon for exclusive manga content and early access. Isn't that right, Zen?
I already joined this Patreon today. Tons of great stuff on there, actually. But did you really have to blow up the city?
Yes.
Blew up the domino. You blew up the domino, and you're laughing. Do you realize the f***ing crisis here?
And you will be next. Unless you subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications right now.
Or else what? You'll aggressively scream another man's name for several hours?
Kakarot! Kakarot!
Now, although I fear that with Raijin now on the hunt and having to use any and all possible measures that are made available to him in order to ensure that he sees his mission through to completion by the very end, I'm afraid that while he is on the move, his allies are seemingly now moving around alongside with him, as I fear for the multiverse's safety if we aren't able to go and stop him in time.
As our story now continues back within the Demon Realm, as the demon god Raijin now sets his sights and having to locate the whereabouts of the former god Mechikabura, as it was only moments after having to initially deal with Frieza, as Raijin now sets his sights and having to track down exactly where Mechikabura is hiding within, was when Raijin then went on to quickly respond, "Good, for everything is going exactly as I had foreseen for it to be, but while time is a resource that should never be squandered, every second brings me that much closer towards completing my objective, and with Mechikabura being the first whom I will go and pay a visit to in order to lay claim to what is rightfully mine. It would be wise for him to not go and challenge my power," Raijin says, lest he wishes for an early destruction, which I will have no problem in granting him if he refuses to cooperate. And with Frieza now under my thumb and having him join my arms alongside the others in destroying any of the other insects who dare and try to stand within my way, for there was no god before me and there will be no god after me. I will go and do what I'm about to go and do, not only because because they lack the power to go and do so, but because they also lack the ambition in carrying out the unthinkable, Raijin says. And that is why we are not the same, Mechikabura and I, but while I could be wrong in assuming that he will go and try and defy me, the time for action is now, for Mechikabura will either yield before me or he will cease to exist, as there will be no middle ground and no compromise for him to make, but only absolution in the form of my will that will ultimately go on to remain in its place, Raijin continues. And while I doubt that he has the knowledge that I have in knowing of what he has within his possession, and if he were to somehow go and find out or already know of what he has within his possession, Raijin continues, will I only expect for him to go and refuse to hand it over, which is why I am also ready to go and do what is needed if it ultimately means that I will need to go that far so that I could have what belongs to me. And so do not try to fool me otherwise, Mechikabura. But while I expect for our encounter to be one without having you resist me, since I already have an idea that you will try and create pushback in order to go and hold on to what you assume to be yours to keep, if what I am able to sense is to be correct, Raijin says, then you shouldn't be too far away from my current location, of course assuming that the energy signature that I sense is where you were previously shown in having to be. And I actually look forward to this little encounter of ours, Mechikabura.
Demon God versus Demon God.
Forgotten about my legend while
Hey,
taking
super
over and being
battles
the
of
so-called
gods. I keep saying it, boys. Super battles of gods. Shout out to Super Saturdays. We get it in.
Once I am to go and find you, since I was never destroyed, nor did I ever step down in ruling over all of you. But since I now sense more than one life form within this realm that you just so happen to assumingly reside in, Raijin continues, which I also find to be rather interesting since you weren't one to be known in having to work alongside with others before. And so this ought to be exactly where he currently resides, for I will not go and have anything more go and get within my way and preventing me in having what I've been long searching for, Raijin says. And so for your sake, it would be wise for you to go and listen to what you are told, otherwise you are going to experience severe consequences. To which it was only surprisingly enough moments later, as the demon god Raijin had gone as far as to locate and track down the whereabouts of Mechikabura's realm and having to further stumble across his demon minions known as Gravy, Salsa, and Poutine, was when the demon god Raijin then went on to quickly respond, well, that didn't take very long, as I was right to assume that this was going to be the exact location of where Mechikabura, along with his servants, were going to be. And now, well, now that I was able to finally track you all down and having to come face to face with you, Raijin says, it is time that you and I go and have a little word on Mechikabura's whereabouts, shall we? As the demon Poutine went on to then quickly respond, wait a minute, and just what in the world is that? That energy and those eyes. Who are you and how are you able to go and track down Lord Mechikabura's domain?
Hold on, stop, wait a minute before we get too serious about the episode. Let's just go ahead and check out they fits, because you know we like to do the drip cam over here, sir. We love to do that drip cam for you. You see what I'm saying? In case you want to get you a screenshot, there you go. Get you some poutine, salsa, and gravy. You dig? There you go. Look at the drip though. Poutine, she alright. She look like she kind of super thick. Long hair. How long is her hair? Is it? Nah, it's midway down her back. She got a cape on. So, anyways, I was gonna say, is it to her ankles? Damn. No, that's her cape. So, therefore, she's got a cape on now. So we know she got a cape on. Of course, she got the long demon ears, and then she's got that little what's that? The reverse Superman or something? I don't know. Whatever that little curling part is in the front, she got it rocking. You dig? Then you got Salsa. He looked like Short King, as we call him, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't think he 5 foot. He got a 4 in his height. You see what I'm saying? So somebody might like him that's like 2 foot tall. You dig? Tinkerbell, that might be her man. You see what I'm saying? Because he only 4 foot tall. You dig? Anyways, let's see. Yeah, the jacket's alright. The belt ain't really working over the jacket, but I mean, I get it. He tried. You dig? Let's see. Then you got Demon. Apparently, Demon ain't got. It's either armor or nothing. So, yeah, with the Superman draws on. So, shout out to the Superman draws. Hey, I'm just saying, you got the underwear on the outside. Who the fuck does that? They did. Boom. Let's go. Clip that and let's keep it rolling.
Traded so suddenly without us having to be aware of you like this. Well, so I see that Mechikabura has failed to inform you younglings on the true nature of the pecking order in which precedes you all, but allow for me to go and introduce myself to you all then, for I am Lord Raijin, the first and original god of the demon realm, which stems long
But here we go with this deal. You see what I'm saying? Ricky Bobby taught you that only being first matters, right? But just because you was first, I mean, you're gonna be the last one, B.
before Mechikabura's
Yeah,
reign.
you see what I'm saying? You ain't gonna be the last
Devotion
one.
towards Mechikabura may go and grant you a semblance of purpose here, but it will not shield you from my wrath if you decide to go and stand within my way, Raijin says. For I am not here for pleasantries, nor am I here to entertain your trivial loyalties, and so I will go on and ask you one time and one time only. Where is the demon god Mechikabura right now, as I am here to collect something that he of course has possession of. So now you will go on and tell me if he's here, for I know that he is more than likely inside of this palace of his, as I have no patience for games and zero tolerance for deceit, as I will not be misled, nor will I be delayed any further, Raijin continues, for every wasted moment is but a slight against my will, and so you will go and confirm his location with me now, or I will be forced to go and extract it from your lips myself, with the demon known as Gravy having to then quickly respond, the first and original god of the demon realm, but we were never told anything about you by Lord Mechikabura before, and so what exactly is it that you seek to go and want to collect from him, as this will be as far as you will go, for we will not go and allow for you to go and cross over into Lord Mechikabura's domain, unless you are hereby go and given access to go and do so. Do you understand? With the demon known as Salsa being shown having to then respond, that's right, and while you may claim for yourself to be of demon origin, we do not serve directly under you, as we are only loyal to Lord Mechikabura and only Lord Mechikabura. And so yes, while he is here within the moment,
Good
you
to
are
see
to
you,
not go and
Naomi.
cross
Hopefully
over
you're
and
doing
pass
good,
by to go and
chilling.
speak with him, unless you are told to do so. Oh, is that so, Raijin questions? What a shame, but very well then, because if I will need to go and crush the three of you in order to go and make my way inside, then so be it, as I had given you all a warning prior, and so I will hereby go and do what needs to be done in order for me to go and fulfill my mission, with Gravy responding, what did he just go and say? How dare you go and speak to us with such a disrespectful tone? For who does this creature think he is by going as far as to talk to us like this? With Poutine responding, there is something very unsettling about that energy of his that I am sensing. But we mustn't go and take his
She the only
beats, as
one
I
using
do
her
feel that
senses,
there
though.
is something more to this creature than what
She was immediately like, hold on, y'all ain't reading the situation right, because y'all over here listening to what he said. She felt the man energy, you see what I'm saying? She is a sensory type, you dig? So she was at least like, nah, from the feel of this guy's energy, he's definitely built different. That's what she was trying to tell him, but they ain't want to hear it, though.
we are able to go and see on the surface, with Raijin responding, do not go and make the mistake of assuming that I will not go and do what it is that I need to in order to get on what it is that I am after, whether you are of demon descent or not. For I see through your hesitation, and if any of you truly want to try and test my resolve in assuming that I am simply bluffing, then I hereby welcome for either one of you to go and test your luck here against me, and I will go and prove to you on what exactly it was that I had meant by what I said, demons. But this, however, did not go over well with the other demons, in fact, because with Salsa being shown having to be the first among the three and making her way right towards Raijin was when Poutine went on to then quickly shout, wait, Salsa, don't attack him, for we don't exactly know as to what we are going up against here and having to go and face him. Foolish little worm, for you should have listened to your friends and stood where you were instead of having to seal your fate with me like this, Raijin says, as I can only go as far as to assure you that it most certainly won't end well for you either, with Salza being shown having to then respond, oh yeah, well you don't scare me one bit, for you will come to respect this realm as you are in Mechikabura's domain now, imposter, as no one, and I mean no one, will ever dare to go and cross over into such a realm and disrespect Lord Mechikabura's name and live to go and talk about it, and so now burn! Burn beneath the weight of your arrogance and feel the wrath of Lord Mechikabura through the fires that dwell below, Salza shouts. And so now burn for your heresy and professing yourself as being above Mechikabura, as you will pay with your life beneath the weight of the fire that consumes you. But then, it was just upon with Raijin being shown having to reach on out through the fires in attempts of having to grab Salza by the neck was when Raijin went on to then quickly respond, enough of this, you traitorous little vermin, for you will need to go and do far better than this if you hope to go and stand a chance against me, as if attempting to go and burn me alive will go and do you any good, especially when the laws of fire, along with its nature, are within my specialty, Raijin says. But tell me something, how long do you think that you can last out here against me before I go and decide to break your neck within the process of our battle? For I believe that it wouldn't be any longer than 30 seconds, to which as both Poutine and Gravy were then shown having to make their way in, was when Poutine went on to quickly shout, oh quickly Gravy, we have no other choice than to go and join in so that we can ensure that nothing goes and happens to Salza within this battle, as Gravy went on to then quickly shout, oh hurry then, let's move around him so that we can catch him from each corner, with Poutine responding, yes, then we will go and do just that, as we'll need to go and use as much force as we can dish out against them, and so on my signal, we'll hurry and go and strike him at the same time and smash this beast with everything that we are made of before he can. But then, it was only just then within that very moment as Raijin was shown having to swing Salsa's body around and having to use her as a means of being a weapon and having to smash her directly into Gravy, was when Raijin went on to quickly continue, foolish younglings, for despite with the three of you and having to hold a numbers advantage over me, just because you may outnumber me doesn't mean that you will win. And while I find your rebellion here against me to be quite the shameful one in having to go and throw your lives away for the sole purpose in having to defend your governing ruler Mechikabura, let this now go and serve as being a reminder to you all that once you go and decide to actively go and turn your backs against me, will it only be a decision that you will go and pay with your lives for, as there is no such thing as redemption towards those who go and defy my throne. To which it was only from out of nowhere, with Raijin now being shown having to unleash a gigantic energy blast that went on to overtake Poutine completely, was when Raijin then went on to quickly continue, and while I sit at the head of the table as the one true God King and ruler of all life throughout the entire multiverse as it is, I will go as far as to ensure you all that no matter your race, even if you just so happen to be one of my own kind, to which those who refuse to bow will be eliminated from this world. For it's a shame that you had to go and turn your backs to me in place of worshipping your false idol in Mechikabura, Raijin continues, but alas, your blood will continue to be spilled until there is nothing more that remains within your bodies, as a terrified Gravy went on to then respond, what has he done? He completely destroyed Poutine without even breaking a sweat. But how? How was it that he was able to go and do that with such ease? And that power just
right the fuck out.
As Poutine was right, for there appears to be something that is far more to this monster than even we went as far as to realize. As Raijin then went on to further turn his attention back towards Salza by then quickly responding, and now back to you, as while you were the first to go and take charge in directly going against my order and having to go and attack me first, allow for this moment to go and sink in and let my eyes be the last thing that you will ever come to see, traitorous demon scum. To which it was only seconds within that very moment as Raijin was then shown having to unleash energy beams from his eyes and having to penetrate Salsa right through the head, was when Raijin then went on to quickly continue. Then there was one, and with these two wretched traitors out of my way, all this now leaves us here is with you. For where I hope that you are ready to experience pain the likes of which you have never experienced in your days before, Raijin says. And so unless you decide to go and bend the knee to me here and now, then you're next. As Gravy went on to then quickly respond, how dare you, as you will go on to pay with your life one way or another, and so even if this means that I will need to go and give everything that I have in order to ensure that you pay for snuffing the life out of Putin and Salsa, then I vow to go and stake my own existence in having to do what is needed in order to destroy you for good. And so now this here is for my fellow demon warriors who were ambushed by your hatred towards your own kind, as I hope that you go and suffer just as much as you had made them suffer with this one, Raijin. And so now disappear within the voids. But then, it was only casually enough with Raijin shown having to literally blow away Gravy's attack right back towards him was when Raijin then went on to quickly respond, oh please, spare me the efforts of such ridiculous attempts in trying to be what you hope results in my destruction, since I can already guarantee you here and now that such ridiculously feeble attacks such as this will not be what will end within your favor, demon. But it was only just as Gravy went as far as to catch his own attack before having to launch a brand new one from his other arm was when Gravy went on to then quickly respond, for you may appear as though you hold the upper hand here against me for the time being, but one thing about us demons that I want you to go and know is that we will gladly go into our graves if it means upholding our loyalty to the master in which we turn out to serve under, Raijin. As I will not go on to cease my attacks against you until I know for a certainty that you are no longer breathing. And so now whether you are the first and original god of our race of demons or not, turning against your own kind is an irredeemable act that is only punishable by destruction. And so now while your very existence is a mistake that needs to be corrected, Gravy continues, let this go and be what does the job in becoming the cause to that very correction and having you pay for what you did to my friends, demon. To which it was only seconds after, with a gigantic explosion then being shown having to take place, was when Gravy then went on to quickly continue, oh, there we go now. Serves you right for doing what you just did and having you snuff Salsa and Putin's life just now. And so there is no physical way that you could have survived this without sustaining at least a bit of damage along the way, Gravy continues. And so that should have done the trick if it didn't at least go as far as to damage that creature directly, but is it possible that he may have found a way out in having to survive unscathed? Gravy went on to then further question, because if he did, then I will have no other choice than to go and call for Lord Mechikabura and having to help deal with such an abomination. But wait, no, but how? It can't be, but he was just right here, and so now where did he go? Gravy went on to then further question, and moreover is how was that creature able to go and outmaneuver his way in bypassing both of my attacks like this, and only having to further do so without having to go and leave a trace of him left behind within the process? As surely I didn't go and miss now, did I? Because I know what I saw, and I know that I saw him go and take those blasts head on without him being shown having to move, and so just where did he go? But then, it was only just then from out of nowhere now behind Gravy, as Raijin went on to then slowly lean on down by having to go as far as to whisper within Gravy's ear, was when Raijin then went on to quickly respond, you should have been far more careful with how you decided to go about this situation with me, demon. Because while you should have known better than to go and try and attack me the way you all just did, for now it's going to be your turn to go and join your fellow servants within the grave. As Raijin meant serious business, because it was only surprisingly enough from out of nowhere within this very moment, as Raijin went on to impale Gravy from behind and having to sever him right through the heart, was when Raijin then went on to quickly continue, then since you had went and have decided to go and continue to stand in opposing me when you should have been smart enough to go and relinquish such desires in wanting to go and stand across for me, this is what you will go and get for ever daring to stand against my law, demon. Yes, for I can feel your heart struggling to keep its beat against my hand, Raijin continues, as you were never anything more than a mindless hound leashed to a master who doesn't care whether you live or die, and yet you stood before me with such conviction and such a desperate and deluded belief that you could actually win. Well, did you, Raijin questions? For your loyalty to Mechikabura was your first mistake, as your belief that you were anything more than a disposable pawn was your second, with your third mistake being in thinking that even for a second that either one of you who stood in opposing me would have any sort of chance in actually being able to defeat me. As this is what happens to those who dare and refuse to go and bend the knee, Demon Raijin continues upon being shown pulling his arm away. Then so do you think that Mechikabura will mourn for you? Do you think that he will even remember you, Raijin questions? For it was as I had said, as you were nothing more but a tool, and now you will go on and be forgotten, as not a trace of you will be left behind for anyone to even remember, Demon. But if you thought this was going to be all that I would go on and do onto you for daring to challenge me, Raijin continues, then allow for me to go and leave you off with this, as I will hereby go and use you in setting the example from here on moving forward, and further letting this serve as a reminder towards all those who wish to stand against me, that no matter what you claim for your descent to be, whether you are a god, a mortal, or even a demon alike, and if you go and stand in the way of having me fulfill my destiny, then you will be torn apart within the process of challenging my authority. To which it was only seconds later within that very moment, as Raijin had gone as far as to now be shown leaning on down and grabbing onto and picking up Gravy's heart, was when Raijin then went on to continue, as you should have went and thought twice about your actions before you had decided to go and turn your backs on the throne the way you all did, and now look. And then while I would go and ask you if this was all worth it, but you and I would both already know the answers to such questions anyways, for you should have went and known that this was going to go and happen, but since none of you were ready for what someone like myself was going to bring onto the battlefield upon having to go and engage against me, this was what you demons get for daring to defy my law and expect to go and live to talk about it, Raijin continues. But since the three of you are now finally out of my way, I can now go about my business and having to go and do on what it is that is needed, and especially now since there is no one who is left that will go and stand in the way of having me go and speak with Mechikabura in regards to the cubes that I seek. But before I go and do so, your beating hearts will be sacrificed within my name for me to go and devour, for I will not go on to stand to have anyone oppose my destiny, even if they just so happens to be demons as well, Raijin says. For these three demons would have served as being great additions to my army of warriors, but they instead had went and decided to stand against me in the name of standing loyal to Mechikabura, which was why this was ultimately needed if it meant in having to use them all in setting the examples in moving forward. But then, it was only just seconds later as Raijin was shown having to chew upon Gravy's heart as Mechikabura went as far as to make his presence known, was when Mechikabura went on to then respond, "What is all of this noise that I hear which is taking place out here, demons? What is the meaning behind why my palace is shaking? And why do I sense more than just your powers being present within my domain? Answer me, demons, as I will not go and ask you all again." As Raijin went on to then turn his head by responding, but of course, and right on time you are, Mechikabura, for you and I have a great many things to discuss." As Mechikabura went on to then continue, "Do I make myself clear enough for all of you to go and hear what it is that I am asking of you, or what? Gravy, salsa, poutine, answer me right now. What is the meaning behind all of this, and why is it that I am able to sense the presence of someone else who is there alongside with you? Because I never went and gave any of you the orders in having to bring uninvited guests before my kingdom without having to first inform me of such things. And so now why are none of you answering me, demons? For I demand for you all to go and do so right this moment or else." With Raijin responding, "And so you have finally decided to go and reveal yourself to me after having to lose all three of your own as a measure of their loyalty and having to perish in your name. How very typical of what it was that I have heard about you, but needless to say, you and I have much to discuss while I'm here, as you can make no mistake about the fact and rest assured that by the time our meeting here reaches its end, Raijin continues, and I will lay claim over that configuration cube one way or another, even if it means that I will need to go right through you in order for me to have it, demon. As it was only right then and there now, during that moment, where the Beyond Dragon Ball Super Story of the Dark Masters, the official Murno sequel, manga chapter number 31 special, then comes to a close.
Well, actually, I'll go ahead and take it from here, as I do want to go as far as to address something very important with our dear viewers at the moment. As before I go and give you the following information, if you aren't already a member of Unreal's Patreon community, then you are truly missing out on so much without you even knowing, because not only is the next episode already on the page, but if you want to support all of the manga content that you see and gain access to tons of exclusives along the way that range from a variety of different things, then we do encourage for you all to become members of our Patreon community today, for we will link everything down within the description box below and pinned comment section as well. Now, I will go as far as to say that while I am certainly not surprised in having to witness Raijin carry out a mission and taking right through anyone that he needs to in order to lay claim over what he's searching for, however, what I will say is that we must try and do everything that we possibly can to make sure that he does not gain access to all three of the configuration cubes that he is after, because if he does, then there is no telling on what that monster is going to try and use them for, and so you do not want to go and miss out on what is about to happen coming up next. So we hope that you all enjoyed today's video, and before you leave, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up by smashing that like button on your way out, as well as also subscribing to Unreal and Gaming's channel for tons of new Dragon Ball content. So with that, we thank you all so much for watching, as we'll be seeing you all again for the
Don't run
next
the fuck
one.
off.
Hello. Did you know that
You
you
did.
can
I'm
stay
finna
up
roll
to
up.
date
You
with
know,
the
we
latest
got part
Dragon
2
Ball
of the video.
content by
That was
simply
just part 1 of the,
subscribing to
new
Unreal
fan-made
Gaming.
anime
Also,
reviews.
don't forget
Shout
to
out
follow
to
on these social
review
media
videos,
platforms.
because, you know, we do
Sexy
those.
son of a bitch. Roshi, Silent Cell, me and the fans are having a moment. That's right. I know what you want. Extra long, thick Dragon Ball content. Quality review with flawless editing. Yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you? You dirty bitch. Roshi, the fuck? God damn it, I need them to subscribe, Cell. And we're demonetized. Yeah, screw it. Let's cut to the video.
The best and the worst about Dragon Ball Daima. The best. Dragon Ball Daima has had the best production ever for a Dragon Ball TV series. The show included very detailed and high-quality animation, as well as really cool battle choreographies. Also, from a lore standpoint, Daima has added a lot of knowledge into our books, from the origin of the universes in Dragon Ball to the tale of the Namekians. Let's not forget just how epic the canonization of the Super Saiyan 4 has been. It is definitely an anime worth watching. The worst. Daima had some inconsistency in its narrative flow, especially from the moment it introduced the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta transformation onwards. It did pick up the pace in the last few episodes, but it had a filler sort of content that felt kind of awkward midway. We also cannot forget the fact that there's a major plot hole right now regarding the Super Saiyan 4 form and its connection with Dragon Ball Super, or even the fact that they teased a potential fusion through some bug items that never actually happened. Definitely a disappointing and odd choice.
When Dragon Ball had its huge resurgence back in 2013, people had 3 things on their minds specifically. Who's the original Super Saiyan God? What are the other universes like? And what the hell is God King? And luckily for us, we got answers to all 3 of those questions. The concept of the original Super Saiyan God was seemingly retconned out of existence by Toriyama. He's not mentioned in the Dragon Ball Super version of the events, and even in his interview regarding the original Super Saiyan and the original Super Saiyan God, Toriyama mentions Yamoshi, who in that interview is called the original Super Saiyan, who is trying to create a new savior with his spirit called the Super Saiyan God. Yamoshi is not a Super Saiyan God. It's been so long now, people have to know this. As for the other universes, we got the answer to them in the form of 2 arcs, really. Kind of 3 if you think about it. The Destroyer Tournament, or whatever you want to call it, God of Destruction Tournament, Universe 6 Tournament is what I tend to call it, gives us a little insight into Universe 6, the parallel universe to Universe 7. Then in the Goku Black arc, which is actually called the Future Trunks arc, we get insights into Universe 10 with Gawas and Zamos, and that's basically it, but it's a little bit of insight into the other gods of another universe. Pretty cool. And then, of course, the Tournament of Power gives us our biggest glimpse by revealing every god of destruction, every Kaioshin, every angel, and the top 10 mortal fighters in 7 of the other remaining 11 universes. So, all things considered, not bad. And we eventually found out what God Ki is. It's bullshit. Just think about this for a second. In concept, God Ki is incredibly cool. It ascends the user to the power of the gods. Not those gods, these gods. So back in like 2013, 2014, everyone was speculating about God Ki, its usage, who was gonna get it, who wasn't, how it was gonna change the dynamic of Dragon Ball going forward, because it seemed like Dragon Ball was here to stay, at least for a little bit. And you have to admit, being in 2014 and thinking, man, could the human fighters actually catch up to the Saiyans via God Ki? Could this be a gap closer in terms of power across the cast in the series? Thinking of God Ki, Ten Shinhan, with 3 Days Grace playing in the background, doing Shinki Kohos with all 4 arms at the same time, bang, bang, bang! I mean, that's just raw as hell, but it didn't happen. And what we got instead was something not great. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think it's great. So in 2015, Resurrection of F comes out, and just so you know, this is only 3 months before Dragon Ball Super, and it only airs in the U.S. after Dragon Ball Super already started in Japan. That's how short the time span between Resurrection F and Dragon Ball Super is, by the way. But more importantly than that, Goku and Vegeta get new forms from training with Whis that are soaked in God Ki. This is the strongest form we've ever seen in the series, Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. It wasn't called Super Saiyan Blue at the time, but you know what I mean. The thing is, Frieza, who was able to not only compete with them, people forget this, was stronger than them, just had a stamina issue, didn't have God Ki. He had 4 months of training and normal-ass basic ki. Now, this might be one of the craziest decisions of all time, because it seems almost comically easy, if you're gonna give him that big of a power-up, to just say he figured out God Ki naturally on his own. Call him a mutant again, call him whatever you need to cope and make a joke about it, but it feels so criminally easy to give him God Ki that I have to feel it was a deliberate choice not to give him God Ki in this form, in his golden form, that is. So after watching this movie and knowing you're getting a series immediately after, you think, okay, well, God Ki isn't really as big of a deal as we thought it was, but maybe it could still be used as a way to catch up the cast, right? What are the main cast doing besides Goku and Vegeta at this point? Well, Yamcha is stuck in gag character hell, Ten Shinhan is treated like garbage despite being an active and training martial artist, and Krillin is a fucking cop. So they're not doing that much in terms of God Ki and catching up their power. Toei tried to give Krillin this episode between the Goku Black arc and the Tournament of Power, but clearly, because Toriyama decided every elimination in the Tournament of Power, he had no interest in giving Krillin some sort of power-up or a really big moment in the tournament. So this was just Toei trying to throw a bone towards Krillin fans, when in reality, Toriyama was going to rip it right out of their mouths again anyway in the few weeks. If we go to the alien side of the main cast, it's better for them in terms of catching up, but worse in terms of God Ki. And actually, quick addendum, I actually forgot this in the video. This is not a joke. It's not better for all of the alien side of the cast, because Goten and Trunks are so forgotten that not only do they not catch up to the main cast in any capacity, they also were so left behind, they were left at their ages in the Buu saga. And oh, you may be saying, but they're saying biology. This was so explained, obviously. obviously, they explained it now, it's all good. Why the hell is Marin still a toddler in Dragon Ball Super when she's supposed to have aged up by like 4 years at that point at least? Come on now, let's be a little reasonable. They left them as kids and didn't change the designs. Maybe they forgot, maybe there's some other reason, but it's stupid, and it leads to them still being left behind, and definitely leads to them not having God Ki, which is the main point of this video. Now let's jump back to the original recording though, where I'm about to talk about Piccolo. Piccolo gets 2 new transformations, one of which is derived from Shenron and seems tied both to his Namekian heritage and his other half being Kami. And guess what it doesn't have? God Ki, despite half of him being God. Okay, cool. Orange Piccolo's a Giga Chat. I like Orange Piccolo a lot. I actually really love that form. I made a video about it because I like it so much. But Orange Piccolo and Piccolo are just not God Ki forms, and they're supposed to be like these gap closers. Well, mainly Orange Piccolo. Piccolo is kind of weak, actually. But Orange Piccolo is a gap closer between Piccolo and Goku, apparently. He's supposed to be rivaling Goku in whatever capacity that means. Obviously, it's less than Ultra Instinct, but Super Saiyan Blue level? Yeah, it's seemingly likely. Same with the androids, Gamma 1 and 2. They're rivaling Goku and Vegeta. That's clearly not talking about them in terms of anything else besides at least Super Saiyan Blue. At the very worst, Super Saiyan God, but realistically Super Saiyan Blue. And they don't even have Ki at all. I mind it less with androids compared to organic fighters, because the androids are sort of like a cheat code, right? They're reverse engineered versions of human and Saiyan fighters, basically organic fighters. They take that data and they're able to mimic it into machinery, right? That's how technology seems to work in Dragon Ball. You can reverse engineer basically anything to make it a better version of itself. Look at Dr. Breeze, the Saiyan pod, and turning it into that big ship Goku takes the nap, right? You can reverse engineer this stuff. So that's fine. But still, no representation for God Ki there. And the other big character in that movie, Gohan, has first his ultimate form. Now, if you're a Dragon Ball Super manga reader, I believe there's no reason to believe that Ultimate Gohan is close in power to Blue Goku and Blue Vegeta, like there is in the anime version, where the narrator directly states that Ultimate Gohan and Goku rival each other, though clearly Blue Kaioken is stronger. But even in the Dragon Ball Super manga, you can't deny that Ultimate Gohan, with a couple of years of off-screen training for the most part, is rivaling Blue Goku and Vegeta in Ultimate when he goes to rescue Pan, since he's doing better against the Gammas than Piccolo was, right? And the Gammas are supposed to be on this Goku Vegeta tier arbitrarily, which should again mean Super Saiyan Blue. So that's just an old transformation that's catching up to the power of these God Ki transformations that are after years and years of training, by the way. We are way past Resurrection F levels of power for Goku and Vegeta. And then you get Beast Gohan, which is not only rivaling the God Ki transformations themselves, but the God Ki Godly Technique transformation, seemingly on a level near, at least. Whether you think it's above or below, I don't really give a shit for this video. But Beast Gohan is clearly near the level of Ultra Instinct Goku, which is near the level of Ultra Ego Vegeta in some capacity. Again, whichever one you think is stronger, weaker. I think Goku's probably stronger, but still. Both of them are these godly techniques they had to learn from a god of destruction, an angel, divine beings, only one of each in the universe. And Beast Gohan just sort of happens. It doesn't even have God Ki, and God Ki is just such a weird concept in Dragon Ball because it's so underutilized in every single aspect. Like, okay, we went through all the main cast that don't have God Ki. At least there's going to be a little bit of God Ki or God Energy or God Power, Divine Power. I can't remember. The translation, or at least the phrasing in maybe even Japanese in the Dragon Ball Super manga changes a lot in the Moro arc for this type of energy. But at least Oob had some of that juice in him, and it was like supposed to be a big deal. So it seems like it could still play a part. Maybe Toyotaro will come in and save God Ki. I would love that. Toyotaro, my blessing to you if you can manage that. But it does seem like at this point, it's almost unsalvageable, because who even has God Ki on the villain side of things, right? We already went over Frieza, and talking about not just villains, antagonists in general. In the Tournament of Power, you have Toppo, and that's it. In the manga, I think Toppo uses his God Ki just like in his base form. He doesn't transform or anything. But in the anime, of course, he turns into this like god of destruction form, whatever. They both use some form of divine Ki. Great, but that's it. Out of 80 fighters, 70 of which not being Universe 7, only one, as far as I can remember, uses God Ki. Okay? Arc before that, Goku Black and Zamasu. Great, God Arc. Okay, cool. We have 2 God Ki users. Fantastic. We're using them there, but it's not used to great effectiveness, right? In the Dragon Ball Super manga, and I guess even the anime to some point, Zamasu is garbage, right? He's like trash tier compared to the main fighters of that arc. He is not competing. He is not putting in work. Goku's like, yeah, Trunks could handle you. It's not great. And Trunks is like using Super Saiyan 2 in the manga, you know what I mean? He's just a nothing figure. So even him having God Ki doesn't help the case. It'd actually be better if he didn't have God Ki, and him activating his God Ki or learning to use more of his God Ki made him strong enough to compete, maybe. I don't know. Super Saiyan Rage Trunks is actually another thing to think about, because Super Saiyan Rage Trunks is like not God Ki, maybe. Possibly it's a God Ki infused. No one knows, because no one will f***ing explain it. Then before that, you have the Universe 6 tournament, where Hit doesn't have God Ki. I guess that's the only one that matters. Everyone else is relatively weak compared to Goku and Vegeta, of course, but Hit being able to even compete against people with Super Saiyan Blue is kind of yikes for God Ki as a concept. Again, this is the 3rd arc after it was quote-unquote introduced. You know, obviously the movies came out first, but the retellings are the same thing, right? It's not extra time. You get what I mean. And those are just the villains in the Dragon Ball Super anime. If we talk about things like the manga-only villains, I don't think Granola or Gas were stated to use God Ki. They use some godly techniques, like a form of destruction, or it looks like Hakai, right? Destruction, but no God Ki as far as I'm aware. And I think Moro may have been stated. I just could be misremembering. I'm doing this off the cuff, so I'll put something on screen if I'm right or wrong. Moro, when he copied Maris's abilities, was using God Ki. So that's something, but that was more so him copying Ultra Instinct and Angel Power than specifically using God Ki to amp himself up further. And then, of course, Broly doesn't use God Ki at all to this day. And Cell Max didn't use God Ki at all. So for me, God Ki is one of these weird things, especially when it comes to the main cast at this point. Because it's clear to me at this point, the intention is for everyone to have their own path of power. Gohan is going down the ultimate, I guess, human route of his own power growth. Broly is controlling Super Saiyan and his own mutated genes. Vegeta is going down the Destroyer path. Goku is going down the Angel path. Piccolo is going down a Namekian path of some sort. And we kind of have these many roads that we can look at these characters evolve and grow and change over. So I wonder if the reason God Ki is kind of ass and kind of a nothing power and a nothing addition to the world of Dragon Ball is because ultimately, at the end of the day, it would limit how characters could be diversified from each other. Now, you could argue Piccolo or maybe Gohan could have God Ki in their forms. Maybe have Gohan go down the Kai route. Maybe have Piccolo go down the Kami route. But realistically, there's not a need to force God Ki in. It is possible to clearly have diverging paths with God Ki, as shown by Goku and Vegeta. But if everyone has a diverging path via God Ki, maybe it would feel a bit worse. It's very possible this was a decision for the best at the cost of a cool thing in the series that could have been potentially better utilized. I will say one final thing about God Ki. People talk about God Ki sort of coming out of nowhere. And yes, it was a new concept, clearly, for Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. But the concept has some basis in the manga itself, with Shin and Kibito specifically having a type of energy that couldn't be used for Boo's revival, with Shin and Kibito being hard to gauge their power and sense them and understand who or what they are. From Piccolo being able to tell from just barely interacting with the Supreme Kai that he was a Kai of high status. He thought he was the Daikaio, the Grand Kai, but he turned out to be the Supreme Kai, the one above the Grand Kai. So it is interesting to note that God Ki actually has its roots in the manga, was expanded on for things like Battle of Gods, Resurrection F, and to some degree even continues to be expanded to this day with things like Destruction and Ultra Instinct to be something a bit more than it was in the original manga and even more than it was back in 2013. It still feels hollow, it still feels underexplained, and it really feels not only underutilized, but also really kind of unnecessary at moments when you see characters achieving these levels of power and efficiency and technique without needing the use of God Ki at all. But I think that's all I want to say about that. See you later.
You're making a big mistake. Roshi, what a waste of talent. Not today. Back off. Haven't you, way? A tough guy like you should be able to face the truth.
Are you okay?
Y'all need to go check out that W link. I keep telling y'all. We already dropped it in the comments. So scroll up on the replay, because you know that's where the links works, is on replay, gang. Shout out to the replay, because you know, if you wasn't here, I had put in some work for you. You dig? We got the PowerPoint with the links and shit. You see what I'm saying? Shit go together. You dig? Anyways, be high as hell today. I had a good video for the most part. I think we only got one clip left. One clip.
I released a video recently where I made the assertion that not a single one of you could beat any Dragon Ball fighter. And the hilarious part is, the comments were flooded with people who thought that I was wrong and that they had valid answers. You're all wrong, so let's go through them. You think you can beat Chaozu in a fight? Sorry, my guy, but he can fly, psychically control your entire body, and shoot deadly Dodonpa beams that would have one-shotted Goku an arc prior. So yeah, try again. You think you can beat Ranfan or Bacterian from the World Tournament? Well, at least you're getting a bit more creative now, but still, unfortunately, both of them, despite their gimmicks, were still highly capable fighters that made their way through the preliminary rounds of the most illustrious martial arts tournament in the world. Unless you are a legit high-level professional fighter, which I highly doubt you are, you ain't taken either of these guys. Videl, not even close. Chi-Chi, she is absolutely wiping the floor with you. Oolong? Well, okay, he's not really a fighter to begin with, is he? But honestly, he might just turn into a rocket and fly out of your reach, so even if you do cheat, you're still not beating a Dragon Ball fighter. Sorry.
Aaron's journey in the Tournament of Power redefined.
That's the end of our videos for today. Y'all know to keep up with me on Super Saturdays, because that's when I'll be live in the mornings. You know, shout out to y'all. Replay gang in the building, I'm probably guessing. But you know how it goes. Yeah, Super Saturdays. And then if y'all want to do any of the videos, let me know in the comments and we'll get to it. You dig?